When jumping into Zenless Zone Zero, we have a lot of things to prepare for. Majority of us want to start our accounts on the right foot, and one of the ways that allow us to do that is by making sure our first 5-star is one of the ones that we truly want. This means we need to reroll. Rerolling a gacha games can take a minute depending on the game, and sometimes it isn't even worth it. But with Zenless Zone Zero, it looks like the time to reroll might not be as long as we think. In today's video, I'll be providing you guys a reroll guide and going over all of the units that you will be able to reroll for. I'll be telling you why you should be aiming for some of them and even provide my own personal recommendations that you should be going for. Without further ado, let's get into it. When trying to figure out how to reroll, we need to know how much gacha currency do we need to pull our first 5-star and how long will it take us to get there. For Zenless Zone Zero, the standard banner will be guaranteeing players their first 5-star within the first 50 pulls of the banner. The standard banner will have a 20% discount for all new players, so in actuality, every player only needs 40 pulls when first starting the game. Now, how we get these pulls is the real question. Lucky for us, we have a bunch of different free avenues that we will be getting these pulls from, and we actually get a good amount that we need on release. Firstly, we are guaranteed 20 master tapes, the standard banner pull currency, as a reward from the pre-registration event. This event required us to hit 40 million pre-registrations before the game release, and we easily surpassed that, getting up to 47 million. Our rewards for this event should be located in our mailbox once we open up the game on release, so be sure to check there. If it isn't in there though immediately when you log in, please give it some time, as I'm pretty sure they will be distributing everything shortly after release. Next, we will be receiving master tapes in-game from various events and as a special gift on launch. Starting with a special gift, we will be receiving the Cunning Generosity gift that will be giving us 10 master tapes to celebrate the launch of the game. We then have the Road to Proxy Greatness event that will be rewarding us master tapes, boupons, and polychromes for leveling up. This event becomes available at Internet level 1, which is your account level, and will be rewarding us 10 master tapes and 10 boupons at level 5. Reaching level 5 is all we need to worry about right now for this event, so we can begin rerolling as soon as possible. You can worry about the rest of the rewards that you will earn once you settle on an account that has your desired 5-star. Now, after completing everything, you should have the 40 master tapes you need to begin rerolling. The only part of this process that should actually take you some time is getting to level 5, which shout out to my guy Azrael Vanity for sending me footage of him playing CBT3 all the way up to level 5. But within his footage, I was able to calculate that it will roughly take you about 20 to 30 minutes or so to reach level 5 and obtain all the rewards you need to reroll. If you guys are wondering how I came up with this, in the pre-release stream they revealed there will be a skip button for all cutscenes, which is the thing that takes up majority of the time when first getting to the game. Next, I monitored how much time it took him to complete every mandatory combat section, and it roughly took him anywhere between 2 to 3 minutes to complete a section, and there was a total of 5. He did have 2 outliers within the 5 to take about 6 minutes and 4 minutes, but since he wasn't racing to complete these sections, you can probably cut this time down even shorter. By the time you unlock the gacha system in the game, you should be level 4 and close to level 5, so all that needs to be done at this point is to complete a combat commission right after as your 5th combat section, and you would then be ready to reroll. Pretty short and easy, right? So now let's get into the 5-star agents you will be rerolling for. If you have made it this far into the video, please be sure to join my battle pass giveaway. I'll be giving away a Zenless Zone Zero battle pass tonight for the release of the game on stream, and all you have to do to make sure to enter is subscribe to the channel and comment down below what character are you going to be aiming for as your first 5-star for the launch of ZZZ. Also, to clear up any confusion, I'm not giving everyone a battle pass. I don't have that much money, but I will try to give at least 2 to 3 users a battle pass on stream tonight, as well as I'll be announcing a winner on my next video to thank you guys for supporting me up until the release of ZZZ, as well as I hope you guys continue to support me afterwards. But I want to hold you guys up any longer. Let's get back into the video. First up, we have Grace. Grace is an electric anomaly unit that specializes in anomaly buildup. This allows you to trigger special effects from your character element, like shock for electricity, assault for physical, corruption for ether, and so on and so forth. This is something that's going to be very important for this game because anomaly buildup triggering these special effects will then allow you to gain access to the new mechanic that was introduced in CBT3 called Disorder. Disorder is an elemental reaction that triggers when you mix 2 different elements together. For example, say with Grace you trigger shock on the enemy with electric, and then you switch to Soldier 11 to trigger burn with fire. These 2 reactions will trigger Disorder if you build Anomaly fast enough, dealing extra damage and inflicting daze. And let me tell you, this does a lot. Being able to trigger this order is going to be one of the main in-game strategies that a lot of players will be trying to take advantage of, and for a unit like Grace to be able to allow this order to happen faster because she specializes in anomaly buildup should automatically make her a unit you want to have on your account. This doesn't even include the fact that Grace has really good mobility, and if you are a player that loves execution, she rewards you pretty well for excelling at that. This is because she has great cancel options with her combo strings, allowing her to do repeated gunshots and grenade tosses while also throwing in her special attacks to dish out some really good damage, but more importantly, anomaly buildup. I have to quote my boy EO here and say, if you love to play fighting games, Grace is a character you're going to fall in love with because she rewards you for your execution. Grace also uses switch tech pretty well, which is an advanced technique I will teach you guys more about later, but essentially what it is that you are able to perform specific moves, then switch into a character, but instead of that previous character leaving the field, they'll actually stay out and complete the animation. This is a concept that comes from fighting games that you'll definitely hear from me and EO a lot when we talk about characters and their strengths, but like I said earlier, don't worry, we'll cover this more in a later video. All in all, Grace is a unit that you will want to have if you want to take advantage of anomaly buildup more and get used to triggering days more often. I'm telling you, this will be the end game for ZZZ, so you might as well take advantage of it now. Next up, we have Rena. Rena is an electric support unit that is essentially a puppet character. A puppet character is a fighting game character archetype, which is one that doesn't fight themselves but uses puppets, or in Rena's case, bang boos, to fight for them. With Rena's bang boos, she's able to fight at really long ranges in comparison to other units with her basic attacks and skills, but her main pull and reason why a lot of people will want her as their first 5-star is that she's able to provide off-field support with her bang boos. What I mean by this is Rena's bang boos will remain on field even if she's off for a period of time, and while they are out, they provide a pin ratio buff which allows other members of her team to ignore a percentage of an enemy's defense. This buff is insane because pin ratio is just as strong of a stat like crit rate and crit damage, so to have this buff on your team can really crank the damage up for all of your units. Rena also kind of has control over how long these puppets stay out, but it requires some execution tricks while she's on field to pull it off. I'm not going to go into detail here about it, but just know, similar to Grace, Rena rewards players for having execution, but she's just a slower unit in comparison. Rena also loves having other electric units on the team so that she can buff their electric damage, but if you don't have any characters to take advantage of this, I wouldn't worry about it too much because again, the pin ratio buff is insane. Rena is definitely a unit that you want if you're looking for one that can provide support off field. There aren't too many units in the game that can actually do this, so she's definitely pretty special in this regard. Next up we have is Colada. Colada is a fire stun unit that specializes in daze. Her goal on any team she's on is to always beat the crap out of enemies and crank their daze meter up. Daze is an effect that is triggered when you continuously attack an enemy and they become stunned. This also is how you trigger chain attacks in the game, so for a character like Colada, she loves when this happens because if she has her additional ability Bellabog Management activated, she applies a debuff to her enemies whenever she lands her EX special attack, which causes everyone on her team's chain attacks to deal at least 35% more damage to stunned enemies. Having a debuff like this in the hands of a unit like Colada is dangerous because her entire kit is about increasing how much daze she can build and making that process happen faster and faster for her. This means if you have a Colada on your team, there'll be plenty of opportunities where your enemies will be constantly dazed and you will be doing insane damage with your chain attacks. Her own damage output can also be amplified if you run Ben on your team because you now gain access to coordinated attack with her that increases the power of Colada's attacks. If you want a stronger stun unit that will trigger daze like crazy and provide huge chain attack damage buffs for your team members, then Colada is your girl. But I'll let you know right now, there's still a stronger stun unit out there that we have to go over. Next we have is Nakomata. Nakomata is a physical attack unit that specializes in movement and damage. She is a part of the few units in the game that will obliterate enemies because of her speed alone, due to enemies literally not being able to keep up with her. Now, because Neko is a physical unit, she has access to trigger assault and flinch, which are effects that I explained with Grace earlier that occur when enough anomaly has been built up. Assault interrupts enemies and deals massive physical damage, and Flinch increases the days targets take for a short period of time. Now, even though all physical units gain access to this, what makes it strong for Nekomata is not only does she deal good damage and is really hard for enemies to interrupt due to her speed, but she now also takes huge chunks of life when assault is triggered and can increase the days which will stun enemies, causing them to not being able to play the game at all. This is literally a unit that can't be touched. I haven't even mentioned yet that when she dodge counters or quick assist an enemy, her damage increases as well. Neko is a character that if you want to dance through your enemies and make them feel like they can't fight back, you pick her. She's also a character that rewards you for a bit of execution, but more so patience. For execution, she has hidden tech with her dash attack that allows you to increase the distance it goes if you plink it. If you don't know what plinking is, this basically means doing it very quickly between each button press. Having access to something like this gives her complete control over her movement and speed, which is something you want to abuse. Now, I already know when players automatically see a movement and or speed character, they think the goal is to always go as fast as you can with them. But what players don't realize is that because of the character speed, you can take advantages of enemies in different ways due to you being faster than them. So maybe Nekomata doesn't always need to waste an assist point to parry an attack. She can easily just dash through enemies to avoid them and continue comboing. Or maybe it's better for her to not mash her way through things and actually position herself to line up enemies to eliminate units faster. Neko is a character that you would want if you are looking for a unit that has high DPS and amazing movement options to bully enemies whenever you want. Next up is Soldier 11. Soldier is a fire attack unit that specializes in damage output. Her entire kit is really straightforward, and your primary goal with this character is to trigger fire suppression, which gives her an attack damage increase. Now, what a lot of players forget or get confused is that this damage increase isn't applied when fire suppression comes from her special attack or ultimate. This only happens when fire suppression is triggered during a basic attack or dash attack. So what this means is that even though she has her special attack and ultimate that grants her easy access to fire suppression, the real reward in her damage lies behind the manual execution of her attacks while mixing in her skills together as well. Soldier is a very selfish character, as she really only wants units to buff her so that she can set the world ablaze. But outside of that, she doesn't do much else. I think her gameplay is really fun, and she's one of my favorite 5 stars in the game. But honestly, you will primarily want this character if you are just looking for an on-field unit that dumps massive damage every time you switch into them. And then last, and of course definitely not least, we have Lycan. Lycan is an ice stun unit that specializes in immobilizing enemies and dazing them. This character is the best stun unit in the game because his toolkit is similar to Coletta, where it's built around him increasing the amount of days he does, but more importantly, due to him being an ice unit, he has access to effects like freeze and frostbite. Freeze immobilizes enemies, preventing them from taking action for a short period of time, and once freeze ends, shatter is then triggered, which then interrupts enemy movement and deals ice damage. You then finally have frostbite that increases the crit damage taken by the target for a specified duration. So not only does this unit stun enemies with daze, but he also just completely prevents them from being able to fight back because they are frozen, and on top of that, he's doing ice damage with increased crit damage. This is all just coming from him being a ice unit, by the way. These aren't even his own specific core skills that we're talking about, which those, by the way, decreases his target ice damage resistant when using his EX special attack or assist follow-up. And if you have his additional ability Elegant Predator activated, this man's stun damage multiplier gets cranked up, allowing this character to just delete enemies and not let them play the game at all, even though I already said they can't do that anyway. Lycan is the pure definition of a broken character in Zenless Zone Zero. Like, honestly, there is no clear answer who is top 1 out of these 6 5 stars on the standard banner, and it's honestly crazy that they left Lycan this way. Just like the famous fighting game quote people always say, just pick a top tier. And those are all of the standard 5-star units that you can go for on your reroll for your account. If you guys want to know my recommendations, I will highly suggest you guys to either pick Lycan, Neko, or Grace. In my opinion, these are some of the best versatile units within the game. Like I mentioned already, Lycan is a top tier character with crazy stun and damage for his team, and he also has the capability of being a part of one of the strongest teams within the game with mono ice and even with a mixture of that. You also have Neko, who is using one of the best anomaly attributes in the game with physical, as well as she's able to take advantage of a lot of enemies with her mobility and speed. So I'm pretty sure she's going going to be rewarding a lot of players with this type of playstyle, as well as she's going to be able to work with the 2 new units, Lucy and Piper, which are going to definitely be benefiting her playstyle, and I'm thinking that's probably going to be one of the next best teams right behind the Mono Ice team within the game. And then we have Grace. Grace is an anomaly unit, and I think anomaly units are going to be very valuable because anomaly buildup is something that is going to cause things to go crazy. And then once we start talking about disorder meta, she's going to be one of the primary characters to be able to cause this to happen the most. So who wouldn't want to invest and reroll for this character on their account? But that is everything regarding the reroll guide, and I hope you guys did enjoy. Hopefully everything that I talked about with these characters were helpful, as well as I hope the process to be able to actually reroll for what you want was pretty easy to understand and consume as well. I appreciate you guys and all your love and support. Remember to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new, and always remember to believe in you that believes in yourself. I'll see you guys in the next one.